Welcome to Answers for Living. We're exploring the question, how to know God's will. So let's look at the basics. Basic number one is this. God's will is more like a game plan than a blueprint. You say, well, what's the difference? Well, a blueprint is filled with incredible details. And you don't mess with the blueprint. You follow it. And you don't have freedom to change things when it comes to the blueprint. Now we ask, should I lease a car or buy it? Should I go to this dealership or that dealership? Should I follow this career or that career? Should I marry her or her? Many of us think that God has one specific person for us to marry. Now, if that was true, what would happen if one of us married the wrong person? Now, that would really mess things up for a whole bunch of other people. Now, if you believe this, then God's will to you is like a blueprint. Marriage does have some guidelines. I could have married maybe 3 or 4 different people. My wife Jeanette could have married lots of different people. But once we married each other, there are guidelines for how we are to live with our spouse. If God's will is like a game plan, there is a lot of freedom within the house rules of the game. You can't do whatever you like. You do need to follow some of the rules. For instance, Christians are to marry Christians. That's house rule number 1. That's God's will. But the game plan has a lot of freedom and options within the rules of the game. Let's just use football as an example. In the game of football, you have a game plan. The coach decides we're going to run the ball against this team and we're going to run it a lot. We're going to burn time off of the clock. We're going to keep their offense off the field. And we're going to keep our defense off the field and fresh. Therefore, we're not going to be passing the ball a lot. So we go into the game and we kick off. And they run the ball back for a touchdown. And now we're down 7-0. Game plan doesn't change. They kick us the ball. We fumble the ball. They recover it and take it into the end zone for another touchdown. Now we're down 14-0. But it's early in the game, so we're not going to change the game plan. They kick to us. We run 2 plays, then throw an interception, and they run it back for 7 more points. And now we're down 21-0. Well, if that happens, what happens to your game plan? Well, it changes because you're behind 21-0. Now we're going to need to throw the ball. But though the game plan changes, we still have freedom to throw the ball to a wide receiver, to a tight end, to a halfback out of the backfield. The point is, in football, there's freedom to change the game plan and freedom even within the game plan that you changed. In the Christian life, that is normally how it works. We have lots of freedom, but we need to know what the house rules are. And those rules are found in the pages of the Bible. If you follow the house rules, you will discover tremendous freedom in God's will.